All right, everyone. We start off today talking, of course, about the Trump case, the hush money case, so-called, the Bragg case. Judge Merchan the other day told Trump, I really don't want to throw you in jail since you're the former president. You might be the next president of the United States, and hey, I don't want no problems with someone that I suspect is probably going to be reelected. That's the undertone there. Please don't continue to violate the gag order. I'll fine you this time, but I'll consider jail time the next time. It's very, very vague. When a court issues such a vague statement, that might be telling. These people have a career in law. They know that when a person is being evasive or they know that they've got a problem, then this is the sort of statement that you're going to get. It's not very cut and dry. Merchan could have come out and said, look, if you do it again, I'm putting you in a jail cell. Well, that's not open-ended now, is it? It's quite definite what will happen if you violate the gag order again. Trump will presumptively go on to willfully violate it again because it's a win-win for him. If Merchan, and he can use it as campaign fodder either way, by the way, he says in response to Merchan's outburst in court, Trump said, well, I'll be glad to offer myself up as a sacrificial lamb on behalf of free speech. He's casting this as an issue of his free speech rights being violated. I concur with him. Quite clearly they are. The inability to criticize a court doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, especially under the conditions in which the primary litigant there is the former president of the United States, who's currently running a presidential campaign, is the Republican nominee, etc., etc. Limiting what he can talk about during that campaign cycle for the most major executive office in the United States is persecution. It's lawfare. People are waking up to this. I think it boosts him in the polls. Now, how is it a win-win? Let's say that Trump violates the gag order tomorrow, which he may very well do, or the day after. Maybe he takes a lid day on violating the gag order. And he does it in a willful manner. It's quite cut and dry that his criticism is deliberately designed to antagonize a response from the prosecution. Merchan brings him in. And two choices. I can fine you or I can throw you in jail. Let's see how it works out. Let's say that Merchan merely fines him again. Well, the liberals aren't going to be too happy about that. It's going to make the court look weak. And Trump can be very smug about it and say, look, they're not going to do jack shit. Oh, $9,000 fine. I'm sure that I'll never be able to find that money. Dude, Trump can wipe his ass with $9,000. He doesn't care. That will show that he has backed down the court in a case that's kind of off the rails anyway and probably isn't even going to result in a guilty verdict. It's not a very strong legal case for a number of reasons. Statute of limitations, artificial felony upgrades, the normal obfuscation of business matters in the sense of paying through a lawyer, etc. The fact that paying hush money is not illegal. The whole nine yards, basically. So I'd be hesitant to guess that he's going to actually be found guilty anyway. He'll back the court down. Let's say that Merchan does put him in jail. So now you have several problems. The first problem is the chaotic logistics of the fact that he has to have a Secret Service detail 24/7. Effectively, people are going to say, well, aren't you kind of jailing several Secret Service members at a time as well? Now, what are you going to do? You could give him house arrest or something like that. His house happens to be in Florida. That's going to make it a little difficult to show up for his case in Manhattan. It'd be a little bit difficult. There's problem number one. Problem number two is that you'll see Trump let out of the courtroom in cuffs presumptively, and to a jail where he can get coffee and toast in the morning basically. They're not putting him in a federal prison or something like that, a high security setting. They're putting him in the county jail. He's the former president of the United States. He's also fighting several other legal cases. He's also the nominee for a mainline Republican Party. You're taking him off the campaign trail, not that they're not already doing that, and they're doing it on purpose. But now you've deprived him of the ability to speak. It kind of proves his point now, doesn't it? Well, yeah, some people will actually respect him for that. Wow, Big Don himself, billionaire, former president stuff, he just doesn't give a fuck. It'll be the return of like the super Trump, like the God Emperor mentality, I think. And the liberals will cast off as, oh, haha, look at weak cuck Trump. The court told him and now they're giving him a spanking. He won't care. He's going to use that as campaign material. Can you imagine the memes? Oh, you're going to get plenty of them, especially with regards to Orange Man in orange jumpsuit. I'm sure that Harry Sisson and the others would love that one. It's a no-win scenario for Merchan's court, or for liberals in general. Of course, the court being tied with DNC money, like all of the other individuals that seem to be involved with this lawfare process. It's obvious persecution, naked persecution. All you got to do is put the man in jail to really drive that point home with a whole flock of independent voters who probably haven't yet made up their minds like, well, maybe Donald actually did do wrong things, maybe he didn't. I'm going to wait till the court cases go through entirely and probably fall apart. Jack Smith's case not looking too good at the moment either after those the unredaction of the redactions that he wanted before the court. Big problem for him. And in Fulton, I mean, even liberals have to admit that that case is fucking screwy, okay? I mean, yeah, people in the prosecution are doing the nepotism thing and wasting taxpayer money to go on lavish vacations and overpaying people that you're banging and stuff. That one hits on the nose a little bit too much. And then the Letitia James case, this is a civil case that may not go through in the end at all. On appeal, it might be thrown out for all we know. It's a bluff, I think, by Merchan. It's difficult to tell whether they're actually insane enough to put him in jail. The problem is that once you've issued that threat, both decisions that you can possibly make are both bad. It's a no-win for the court. They either look weak or they look tyrannical. Donald Trump's going to use either one as campaign fodder, and I think that he knows this. I think it's part of his strategy. He's being deliberately antagonistic. He's also framing it as a First Amendment issue. Hey, I'm a candidate for the presidency. I'm a former president. If they can do it to me, they can do it to you. That's number one. And number two, I have the right to speak out against what I feel is persecution. I'm standing for the First Amendment. Now, liberals will cast off as, no, Don, you're just being punished for your actions. He hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. That's the long and short of it. Apparently, the First Amendment's not near and dear to some people if it involves Orange Man. Neither is the right to a fair and speedy trial. Very strange. So we'll wait and see. I suspect that Donald Trump will violate the gag order. He'll probably do it fairly blatantly. And then the ball is in Merchan's hands. I mean, or court, literally. Pardon the pun. It's very much intended. I don't know. There's really nothing that they can do. They can't fine him to death and silence him that way because he doesn't care about the fines. And they look weak if they just keep fining him. They wag their finger. Imagine that he goes before court. He violates the gag order again. And Merchan says, okay, just one more time. Please don't do it again. This can't be allowed. You're not allowed to criticize me or anyone else in this room. Not allowed to criticize the prosecution. Not allowed to talk about my family and bullshit like that. Clearly violates the First Amendment on multiple levels. The next time I might jail you. And then there'll be 5 next times and he never ends up getting put in jail. He'd probably be happier if Merchan is crazy enough to pull the trigger. I think he gets more of a boost if they put him in jail than if they look weak and they back down. So I think he's hoping for that. He's like, oh, I spend a weekend in jail, or a week in jail or something, and, my fans out there are going to say that it's persecution. It's going to be pretty obvious. The memes will flow. You're going to get the Trump as a dissident energy back because the legal system will nakedly be persecuting him. He is a former president. Again, you've got that added side issue of the Secret Service detail. It's not clear logistically how they're going to be able to house him in a jail cell. Hell, if he goes to a prison on felony charges, he does get found guilty. How the hell are they supposed to pull it off? The only thing that I can think of is they put him under house arrest at the Mar-a-Lago, and then he begins to look like Napoleon Bonaparte. So the case is all sorts of wonky. That's about all. Peace out.